The Interview, written by Christopher Sylvester, is a very interesting lesson speaking about the invention of the interview about 130 years ago. We face interviews throughout our journey of life, and several thousand celebrities are the part and parcel of this process. The opinions of the interview, its functions, methods and merits vary considerably. Some people believe that they are able to recall the truth, while there are those who have a great despise from the word interview. They believe it to be a kind of direct encounter into the lives of the celebrities. In this context, some of the world-famous writers had varied opinion. According to V.S. Naipaul, a cosmopolitan writer, some people are wounded by interviews and lose a part of themselves. Rudyard Kipling expressed an even more condemnatory attitude towards the interviewers. H.G. Wells, in an interview in 1894, referred to the interviewing ordeal but was a fairly frequent interviewee, and 40 years later found himself interviewing Joseph Stalin. Saul Bellow, who has consented to be interviewed on several occasions, nevertheless once described interviews as being like thumbprints on his windpipe. The Interview is an extract from an interview of Umberto Eco. The interviewer is Mukund Padmanabhan from The Hindu. Thousands of celebrities have been interviewed over the years. Our most vivid impressions about contemporary celebrities are through interviews. But for some of them, interviews are unwarranted intrusion in their lives. In this part of the chapter, the interviewer highlights how Umberto Eco considers himself as an academician first, and a novelist. Later on, he considers himself a university professor who writes novels on Sundays occasionally. The possible reasons of the huge success of Eco's novel, The Name of the Rose, are also highlighted in the interview.
Once an English novelist, David Lodge, remarked that he was unable to understand how Eco could do so many things.
People might feel, I am doing many things, but in the end I have found that I am always doing the same thing.
Which is that thing?
It is very difficult to explain. I have got some philosophical interests which are pursued by my novels and academic work. There are my books for children. They are about peace and non-violence, and this is all philosophical interest. Even then there is a secret. All of us have a lot of empty spaces in our lives, and I call them interstices. Suppose you are coming over in an elevator to my place and am waiting for you. This is an interstice, an empty space. I work in empty spaces. Your elevator will come up from the first to the third floor, and am waiting for it. I have already written an article.
It must be your non-fictional writing. Your work has a certain playful and personal quality about it. This is a departure from a regular academic style. You must have adopted an informal approach.
While presenting my first doctoral dissertation in Italy, one of the professors said, "Scholars learn a lot of certain subjects, then they make a lot of false hypotheses, correct them and give the conclusions, but you told the story of your research at the age of 22. One understood that the scholarly books should be written the way I had done, by telling the story of the research. So, my essays have a narrative aspect. At the age of 50, I started writing novels. I remember that my friend Roland Barthes was always frustrated that he was an essayist and not a novelist. He wanted to do some creative writing, but he died. In my case, I started writing novels by accident.
Thus, you became famous after the publication of The Name of the Rose. You have written 5 novels and many more on non-fiction. Among them a seminal piece of work on semiotics. If we ask people about Umberto Eco, they will say that he is a novelist. Does it trouble you?
Of course, it troubles me. I consider myself a university professor who writes novels on Sundays. It is not a joke. I always participate in academic conferences. I do not attend the meetings of pawn clubs and writer identity myself with the academic community. By writing novels, I am in a position to reach to the large number of people. I cannot expect to have 1 million readers with stuff on semiotics.
I ask you another question. Your novel The Name of the Rose is very serious novel. At one level, it is a detective tale, and then it goes deep into metaphysics, theology and medieval history. It is being enjoyed by a large number of audience. Were you puzzled at all by this?
No, the journalists are puzzled. We can even see that sometimes publishers also get puzzled because both believe that people like trash and do not like difficult reading experiences. Suppose there are 6 billion people on this planet and the novel is sold to 10 and 15 millions. Thus I am getting only a small percentage of readers. Thus, these readers do not always want easy experiences. After dinner at 9 p.m., watch television, and see Miami Vice, or Emergency Room. I enjoy it and I need it, but not all day.
Can you tell that how your novel has got a good success even if it deals with the medieval history?
That is possible. But I can tell you another story. My American publisher told she did not expect to sell more than 3,000 copies in a country where some has seen a cathedral or studied Latin. So, I was given an advance for 3,000 copies, but in the end it sold 2 or 3 million in the US. So many books have been written about the medieval past, but the book has a mysterious success. Nobody can predict it. If I had written it 10 years earlier or later, it would not have been the same. Why it worked is a mystery. Thus, the novel The Name of the Rose has got a good success.